Bar chords. Once you learn them, you're going to use them about 80% of the time. When I think chords, and scales, when it comes to chords and scales, I only think of three different kinds: major, minor, and dominant. And dominant, that would be anything like a fifth, a seventh, a ninth, or a 13th. Anything that's kind of out there that's different. If you look at the chord page that I gave you, you'll see on the top